Hey! Hey! We're coming at you
We
live.
are live, folks. Live in person, in reality. Here at the Seattle Occupied Film Festival.
Things have gone crazy.
You know how it is in the big cities these days. Things just kind of go.
Yeah, I can understand if you missed it. There's been a lot of news happening. Shout outs to our armed forces in Rhode Island. I think we'll be fine with 48 states. I don't think it's that big a deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're at the currently ongoing permanent film festival in Seattle. And we saw a couple movies. And we're gonna talk about those.
We're gonna talk about the movies that we saw. Yeah, so it turns out Seattle's little film festival that we got here, SIFF.
Yeah.
Is it International Film Festival? Is that what it stands for?
Yes, because they have international film.
Ah!
It's Seattle. If you were to diagram the sentence, it would be Seattle, and then the subset, international film, and then festival.
That's great. I love sentence diagramming. That's spectacular.
I was raised thinking I'd have to use it a lot more, and I don't. So I gotta get my practice in somewhere.
Haven't thought about it in years, actually. Hadn't brought it up. But yeah, we've got quite a few movies to talk about, but we're probably really only going to chew the bones of one of them.
Yeah, which is the one that we both saw. We were both going to see one, but then I was sick, so I didn't go see it.
Yeah. It happens. Sometimes you buy 6 tickets, you see fewer than 6 movies, and SIFF takes your money and you don't feel bad about it because it's SIFF.
Yeah, because it's like I'm proud to support 50 plus retirees going around and seeing like movies from Argentina. Seeing French films with some title like The Heavy Set Brow of Her Sweat.
Oh
or like a title just like Charge.
Yeah,
it's a movie about a woman with a credit card, and then in the last act it becomes like magical realism or something. I said like I'm really dumping on SIFF, but I actually was talking with a friend, and if next year the lineup is a little bit stronger looking, I was even considering like, what if I use PTO? Because one of the few problems with SIFF is that there's a lot of movies and a lot of movie times that don't line up with having a job.
Yeah.
Or generally just like life.
They did have some like online screenings as well. Which some might still be going on. I have no idea.
I one of the ones I missed was one of the online screenings, but that was because the previous years it was like easy to like Chromecast it, but this year it was like, I don't know. I was having a lot of trouble getting it to work, so I just gave up and didn't watch it.
Oops. Oh well. Might want to submit that bug report.
Yeah. Yeah, it just like wasn't showing up for me, and I was like, okay, fine. I don't know, maybe it's like a DRM thing. They're really into DRM nowadays.
Love DRM.
Doctor Movie.
Doctor
Movies. That's right. DRM stands for Doctor Movie. We're getting a little bit off topic, but I do want to say, DRM with movies is such fucking insane shit. There was the time I was trying to watch something on the Criterion channel on my computer, and it wouldn't let me because I was trying to watch it on the screen that's bigger, and it was like, no, DRM, like, sorry, you're trying to broadcast this over a different cable. So like, therefore you must be trying to pirate it. And it's like, I was like, literally it was like a film that was so easy to pirate that I ended up just downloading it.
I've had that shit happen to me before too, and it's literally, yeah. I'm okay. I'll just go pirate the movie so I can watch it on the fucking other screen that I wanted to watch it on. They think you're hooking it up to a projector to watch it with like 80 people.
Or so, yeah, like, I just don't get it. I mean, I guess I air quotes get it, but then again, it's like, okay, but like, you're the Criterion channel. Like, everything on there is so easy to pirate. You're not fucking Netflix. This isn't like, oh, we got everything on Netflix is easy to pirate, but you're not like fucking Screambox where you gotta wait for some horror movie pervert to decide to rip The Clown Reckoning or whatever before you can watch it if you don't have a Screambox prescription. Like, it's fucking Criterion.
It's Criterion. It ain't Disney Plus. It's not they don't have Nintendo lawyers that can put you into an indentured life of servitude forever.
I assume it's just got to be something with like some licensing thing with like whatever companies, or it's like, okay, we'll let you stream this, but in return you have to make it really annoying to watch, because studios don't want you to watch their movies, as it turns out. It's
fucking weird. They're so stingy. They keep they hog all the movies to themselves. They have that fucking what is it? The Looney Tunes movie that they're holding hostage right now.
Oh yeah. The
Wile E. Coyote thing.
I was thinking also like how they put the nun from The Devils in Space Jam 2, and that is a movie that you just can't watch anywhere. Like, they're just sitting on it. It's like, you know it exists. You put it in your fucking Space Jam movie.
I don't know if I buy that conspiracy theory. I think it might have just been a scary nun.
I don't know. It looks a lot like that. It's like the same like weird specific habits she has. Like, I think it was the nun. I think it was probably just like somebody who worked on the set thought it was funny, and they were right. It is funny.
Just some gay guy.
Yeah, just some gay guy who works on Space Jam 2.
That's how they
just told them. It's like, oh, it's just a nun from a movie about a nun. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, put her in there. She's got the big smoking femur, and she's like waving it, like, yeah, fuck them up, bugs.
God. All right, I'll start us off here. Let's get the ball rolling.
Let's get the ball rolling. The one I missed that I'm really sad I missed, but you saw.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. So we were gonna see, Dead Lover. I ended up seeing it. Jay, ducked out.
That was the one that I was sick for, so I ended up missing it.
Yeah. And. Yeah, Dead Lover is by Grace Glowicki, who we have talked about before. We talked about Tito back when that came out. And boy, oh boy, Tito is a lot of fun. And so too is Dead Lover. Dead Lover is a step in a much more like stylistic direction. Tito is like I don't know. It's shot within certain confines, but it feels more like a traditional movie, whereas Dead Lover is like very hyper stylized and very like stage set, play like. There's lots of crazy drag. There's lots of extremely hard front wigs. There's wild prop making going on.
Yeah, I was reading about it a bit before, but it's like she was just using like dollar store props, which is like so insane.
Yeah. It's spectacular. And it's like so much fun. There's it kind of like it has these like really strong comedic performances from basically every major player in the cast. Yeah, I don't know. Dead Lover really hit for me. It was probably my favorite thing that I actually saw at SIFF this year.
God, I I'm looking into it because I was like, it looks like it might have gotten picked up by, I'm really anxious by this terminology, new distribution venture. So hopefully that means it'll get a wider distro, because I think Tito is actually still like really hard to find. I don't even know if Tito's on anything. I don't know. Let me see if it even got a physical release, because like things don't really get physical releases now.
Yeah. It's on Philo.
And is Philo?
It's on Philo, and it's on Fossum. Like Crazy. Awesome, but with an F.
Well, I guess that's more than the last time I looked, where it was just like not on anything. I've like checked a bunch of like, like piracy sites, and it's not on them. I don't even think it's on World Cinema, which is like, that's crazy. Like World Cinema will pirate, will make available to audiences fucking anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not on there. Which is a shame, because Tito is, it's definitely a much more amateurish production. It's definitely like, this is my first film. But it's really good. I really fucking like Tito.
Yeah. Yeah. Dead Lover is so much more confident, it feels like, as a film. Not to say that Tito isn't a confident, premiere.
Tito is also very, like, okay, I have a copy of Tito. So there was a pirated copy at some point, thankfully.
Okay. It existed somewhere.
It existed somewhere out there, and I got it. But yeah, like the thing about Tito is just that it's a lot smaller in scale. Like it's definitely more aware of its confines and working in it. And everything I've seen about Dead Lover sounds like it's just, okay, I got it under my belt. I know what I'm doing. I'm going way crazier now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like it feels larger in scope, but a lot of that is like stage play hat tricks and just kind of like silly like sound effects and just kind of like filmic layers of certain things. I don't know. But again, it's so stylish that it all kind of comes across effectively.
So the main thing I know about it is that, and this is the phrasing they specifically emphasize a lot in all the promotional stuff, is that it's about a stinky gravedigger.
Yeah. Yes, she's stinky as fuck. That's like the main plot line.
It's so funny. I love just like, she's a stinky she's a gravedigger.
She's a stinky yucky girl. Yeah, she says she's a stinky yucky girl pretty much throughout the entire film. She says lots of yucky poop stuff. And there's like some James Joyce fart letter style flirting that happens throughout the film. Where like her soon to be dead lover is like becomes obsessed with her farts, I think, and becomes obsessed with her smell. And wants to like pick up a piece of her poo and eat it.
God.
It's hilarious. It's really good.
My favorite one I saw was Solomon's story. Which is I was a little worried going in, because it is a film about an immigrant in France navigating the immigration system. And so I was kind of worried that it was going to end up being a little boosted by like, it's a French movie and they got like an actual like immigrant to basically play a kind of like loosely fictionalized version of himself. And it's so like, it's just so topical. Like I was worried it was going to be one of those films that's very obsessed with being topical.
Right.
But it is in fact a really good fucking movie. the main character, Suleiman, the last, I would say, act-ish of the film is essentially just one long monologue, the titular Solomon story, and it's an insanely good performance. But the thing that makes it such an insanely good performance is that it comes on the heels of, like, the rest of the film being him being this very kind of, like, stoic, trying to, like, hold everything together while clearly, like, freaking out character, that this moment of him just, like, breaking down in his migrant, like, application interview, phenomenal. It works so well, and especially works well because, without giving a spoiler, the way it ends is just, like, this perfect thing of, it's like, all of that, and for what?
God.
I would put it, it's very, very much so, I would put it in the same sort of thing as Give Me Liberty, which we've talked about, we also talked about before.
Yeah.
Give Me Liberty, Ken Loach films, like Sorry We Missed You, that sort of, like, working class cinema where it's about, like, people living on kind of, like, marginal with questionably legal and occasionally questionably moral choices that they basically have to make for survival, and how you're kind of dangling over this precipice where all it takes is, like, one bad day or, like, one bad week to just undo everything that you've been working on. All it takes is one person to fuck you over, or for you to fuck over the one wrong person. And the thing that I really like about the film is that it shows all of this as kind of a mixture of, like, individual actors making decisions, but also, like, the structure that kind of sets them all against each other. Because, you know, he's I think it's either DoorDash or it's some fictional fake food delivery client service thing. He's using basically a rented account. As if you've seen the discourse about when people are like, this person isn't the person who's on my profile, that's not safe, it's actually good of me to report them to DoorDash. This film is kind of like, well, it's usually because they legally can't actually open one, and so legally they're not allowed to work, because a lot of immigrant processes usually involve, like, being in this weird holding zone of, like, okay, you can stay in the country while we decide if you can stay in the country, but you're not allowed to work. And also you have to pay for everything still. So that's how you end up with a lot of cases of, like, these sort of contracts, like, third-party app services. That's, like, one of the reasons why they're so buoyed by, like, immigrant labor, is because that is, like, a place where you can kind of cheek the system a little bit and technically be getting income without getting an income that will basically cause you to be deported.
Right.
And so that's the situation he's in. Another big theme in the film is that he's basically seeing this consultant who's, like, another migrant that he owes money to, who's basically giving him it's just openly, like, the thing I like about the film is that it's very non-judgmental about it. It's just he's openly giving him a bullshit story. He's just, like, ultimately like, okay, you were a political prisoner, you joined this party for this reason, here's all these details, they're going to ask you questions about the prison, they're going to ask you questions about the political party, you're going to have to answer them, so you have to do all of this research to basically pretend to be, like, a political refugee, because otherwise they're just not going to care that you're here.
Goddamn.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's really impressed me, because that is something that is, like, especially in the moment right now, so loaded to, like, depict a migrant basically gaming the system. Like, that is the kind of shit that, like, Trump and, like, the fascists in France are, like, constantly fear-mongering about. It's like, they're coming over here and they're lying and they're preying on liberal sensibilities to, like, get into our country. And the film does a really good job of being like, well, yeah, because that's the only way that they're allowed to, like, migrate to this country, and they still need to. Like,
Yeah.
the things that are driving them out of their home countries are still real. They're just not, like, recognized. And so that's kind of the setup of the film. And then, like I said, it turns into a very stressful, like, one perfectly bad week. Everything that happens goes wrong. Every system and structure he interacts with is either doesn't care or is actively trying to fuck him up. Probably my favorite small detail, because the film is very good at conveying a lot of this information just by the characters doing it and not them, there's not a, like, I'm the guy from outside the situation. Huh? What's going on? This is how you navigate it. They just show it. And my favorite one is there's a scene really early on, or not early on, like I say, like maybe about midway through, where he gets to a homeless shelter. They're bunked up for the night. And then it jumps ahead to like 4 or 5 a.m. And like his phone alarm starts going off. And he starts slowly getting up. And then you just start hearing this like orchestra of just like it's mixed in really well. So you can just tell, like, just throughout this shelter, you're hearing different phone alarms go off. And they're all like, that guy's got an Android. That guy's got a Samsung. Like just different phone alarms going off. And you're like, okay, what's going on here? And the first thing he does is he gets up and he calls another homeless shelter to make a reservation for that night. Because it's first come, first serve.
Oh, yeah, damn.
And I love it because it's like the film doesn't like explain that. It just shows that. And it just shows how much of like an automatic, like, this is his day-to-day process. Is he goes to the homeless shelter, he wakes up early in the morning. First thing he does is call another homeless shelter so he has somewhere to sleep that night.
That's fucked up.
It's so good. It's so good, and it doesn't, again, much like everything else. The film doesn't like comment on it. It just is like, that's the system. Here it is. This is what these people have to go through. It makes a character who is very sympathetic just by showing you his circumstances, not really by like making him like a morally pure character. He's not. That's why I call it very similar to the sort of Ken Loach like working class cinema thing, where it's like it's just depicting like a guy who's just in a fucked up situation and he's making the decisions he has to make because he's in a fucked up situation.
Yeah, that sounds extremely compelling. I mean, I definitely heard from multiple people that was like one of the best things that was showing this year at SIFF was Suleiman's story.
No, it was absolutely my favorite. Heard nothing but good. I think like every screening sold out. It got best film at the Caesar Awards. I know it was also huge buzz at Cannes. So that is one that is probably going to get like a wider distribution, or at the very least like get a limited run distribution in the States. So if you get a chance to see it, I recommend it. It's really good.
Hell yeah. I will seek it out. I'm sure it'll end up on like Mubi or something.
Yeah, no, it seems like the kind of thing that'll end up either on Mubi or like, I don't know, maybe it'll get a Criterion release. It's pretty random. It feels pretty arbitrary what Criterion like picks up as their like new movies to like give the thing to. Remember when they picked up Marriage Story?
God, bizarre.
What was that about?
Yeah, so I also watched a couple other films. I watched Fuck Toys for one.
Okay, but first, tell the story about the Fuck Toys promotion.
Oh yeah, so the Fuck Toys takes place in this kind of like slightly cartoony world where there's like these sanitation workers everywhere, who are just like completely covered in PPE, and as part of the promotion, they basically had someone like covered in PPE, like pretending to clean out front of the theater. which was really fun. Also, they were friends with the people who were in front of me in line, so they like stopped to like chat with them for a bit, which was fine and also adorable. But yeah, that was a very bizarre experience coming into the movie. But you know, within the context of the film, it makes sense. And yeah, Fuck Toys. Fuck Toys was like a lot of fun. It wasn't like. It obviously wasn't my favorite thing I saw at SIFF, but it was probably the biggest audience, because I think they showed it opening night.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, so there was this huge crowd for it, and everybody was really... It was a really reactive crowd, and it was like a really engaged crowd that was there to like have fun. And... yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's again a really stylish kind of film. It's very like Vaseline on the lens. It kind of reminded me a little bit of The Love Witch. I think during the Q&A afterwards with the director, someone mentioned The Love Witch as well. Fuck Toys, enjoyable, a very fun movie, very stylish. I had like some problems with the story. The ending, just I hated the ending. It does one of the most like cliche things to happen at the end of the movie, where they just like in a specific way kill off a character. In a way that like doesn't contribute anything to the film, and kind of just feels like they were just fishing for an ending. I don't know. The movie was fine up to that point for me. But I don't know. Overall, a lot of fun. Okay. There's a really good bit where, because the main character is like a sex worker, and she basically goes to like one of her John's house to like hide out for a little bit, and he basically says like, all right, his name is Robert also, and he stuffs them into his basement, and he's like, all right, if anybody sees you or asks, you're robbing the house. And they're like, okay,
that's a really good bit.
And Annapurna's character goes back upstairs and starts eating stuff out of the fridge, and gets caught by the guy's wife, and she's just like, robbers, we're robbers, we're here for Robert. No, I mean robber. It's probably my favorite scene.
No, that's a really good bit.
Yeah. Strong stuff from Fuck Toys. The other movie that I watched was a movie called Drowning Dry. Well, there's actually 2 other movies that I watched. I watched a movie called Drowning Dry from Lithuania. It wasn't good. That's kind of...
That's really all there is to say about it. It's just not good.
That's all there is to say about it. It's like a white family goes on a vacation, and it's told in weird Memento style, and it's like just really dumb. Didn't like it. Was not impressed.
Didn't laugh, didn't cry.
TLDR. I thought about leaving, but I didn't. I stuck it through the whole movie, and I wish I didn't.
That's kind of how I felt about the other movie that I saw. Slanted. Slanted was kind of being sold at SIFF as like very kin with The Substance. In that it's also a body horror, and I'm putting that in big quotes. But instead of about an old woman, a middle-aged actress who wants to be young and sexy again, it's about a first-generation Chinese like teenager who wants to be a white girl. And so she finds out that there's there's white people surgery because she uses the app that makes you look white enough times that she gets a special invite to try it out.
Okay.
My problem with the film, oddly enough, not with the premise. Because the director was there and she did mention, she's like, yeah, it's kind of based on like my growing up. My problem with the film is that should promise something so much more crazy than a Disney Channel original movie, which is what I fucking got. Like,
Damn.
it is the most like the most beautiful thing you can be is yourself. Like, ass fucking movie. And it's weird too, because so it has these moments where it's almost like Bottoms level, like over the top, like satire.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first scene of the film is like, she's like 8 years old and she's like immigrating, or like not she's immigrating, but like she's being driven to her new school by her dad and they're having a really cute thing. And she's looking out the window and they're driving past places and it's like a Starbucks, but it's called like Guns and Coffee, or it's like a Dollar Tree, but it's called like Prayer Store. Like, it's super, like, she drives past like a parody of the Carl's Jr. ad of Paris Hilton, but it's like two women making out over a burger. Their school mascot is called the Wizard, and it's just a guy in a Klan hood. Like, it's got these touches of like Grand Theft Auto ass fucking like comedy, but then everyone in the film like acts as if they're in like a normal world. Like the family reacts pretty realistically to their daughter coming home and she's a white girl now. Where they're like confused, they're like mad, they're like, yeah, they're like freaking out, and then they're like, when she proves that it's her, they're just like immediately like go to the surgeon. They're like, refund, we want a refund, make her not white again. Like very realistic, like human family ass movie that is just so at odds with like the absurdity of everything, of like the setting and like the concept. And it was like, I really wanted it to either be like, I wanted it to have one foot more than the other. Like, I wanted it to either be the substance / bottom style satire where everybody and everything is cranked up to 11 because it's like using these big swing for the bleachers bombastic humor where if a joke doesn't land, it's fine, there's going to be another one. Or it should have been like much more grounded and kind of a like weird film where the only thing that's like over the top is like the magical realism of like there's a surgery that makes you white.
Yeah. I feel like the premise of there being a surgery that makes you white is like, that should be your movie should be like Cronenbergian in some sense, like at some point. The idea that it's just straightforwardly like a Disney Channel style comedy is very strange.
Even the body horror is really tame, where it's like, you know, like her face starts kind of like drooping a lot and she's like freaking out about it, and then that's when she finds out, spoilers for Slanted, that like the popular rich girl that she's been obsessed with impressing and like betrays her non-white friends to be besties with her. That's when she reveals that she also got the white surgery.
Oh my god.
That she's also like another, which is like an interesting concept. Like that's something that like if it was much more swing for the bleachers satire, is I think would have worked really well with this gag of like, oh yeah, like what ways in which this sort of stuff is not just enforced like by society, but is like, even when society is very hands off about it, you know, everything is there. Like that's part of the satire that I think works really well. The person who has the surgery that makes you white is also, he's like revealed to have been like black surgeon who was like one of the best in his fields and basically invented this because he got tired of constantly getting passed up and he knew the reason why. And so he just invented a surgery to make himself white so that way he could like have the benefits of white privilege. The other family that has it has this very like silly liberal idea of like, oh, this is what equality is going to look like, is that we're all on the same playing field now because we're all white. And it's like the film does a good job of showing that it's not like because like white people around them are necessarily like actively enforcing that with racism, but they're passively enforcing that. There's the passive way in which all of the non-white characters are obviously marginalized, are obviously being treated as others. That's like unconscious and structural. That is like, of course that's going to get internalized. And of course that's going to cause some people to like opt into actually valuing whiteness in this way. But it's like, again, it should be either, like you said, Cronenberg body horror, or if it's going to be super grounded, like have the whole film be super grounded. Or I think the smartest thing is it should be a fucking cartoon. Like that is a cartoon concept, is what if there was a surgery that made you white? Like we live in a world where there's fucking, what's his name? Ollie, whatever, the fucking fake detransitioner who transitioned to be a Korean woman, from a white guy to be a Korean woman, and then detransitioned, but still goes on Fox News and will be like, as a Korean man. And it's like, you're not Korean. He's not. He's a white guy. And it's like, he is body horror. Like, he looks like But it's like, it's just like, he is a cartoon man. And it's like, clearly when you start getting into stuff like this, like you should, like your movie should be cartoonish because you are literalizing such an absurdly evil structural habit of our society that the only way it like can be properly contained is to be making it a cartoon.
Damn.
And that was my main problem with, like, that's why it's like, it's not like bad overall. There are some good jokes. It's just that like 70% of the film is just like a Disney Channel movie. Like just to like, oh, the true person you should be is yourself. You got to be true to yourself, which is like, it feels like it's such a waste of like a concept that could have been better, or could have been way worse, but thus more interesting. Oh, also, just as a funny note, is that when I went and saw it at SIFF, at one point, I had to get up to be like, I'm going to go get some more popcorn, and then sit on the other side of the theater, because there's just this, like, middle-aged white woman next to me where I was sitting, who, not that she, like, laughed too much, but it was like, have you ever watched something or been around someone where they will, like, they like, verbalize like the thoughts behind everything? They're like, what? That's so crazy. Why is she doing that? But like doing that in like a crowded ass theater, I was like sitting there and I was like, okay, I want to give this film a fair shot. I can't do that with this person sitting next to me. And I had to literally get up, go like, oh, I'm going to get some popcorn. I just went out and then came back into the other side and sat on the other side of the theater. Because I was like, I'm going to go fucking insane if I have to sit next to this for a whole movie.
That's harsh. That is harsh. That definitely tints your experience a certain way.
I think if I had not been able to do that, I would have literally just walked out of the movie. I would have just straight up been like, I'm not staying for this. But yeah, that was Slanted. I'll probably see what the director does next when she's doing the comedy parts. It seems like she's got a chop for it. I just wanted to see more of it.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, the last movie that I saw that isn't the one that we're gonna talk about after that one,
yes,
but is the other one, is that this is the one that I saw the one time that I saw it, and it was the movie. It was called Diamonds.
What's Diamond? What's that about?
Diamonds. It was well.
Starts
Okay,
coughing.
no, it's not about diamonds. It's about making clothes. It's basically okay. Diamonds is an Italian film from 2024 where it starts out as this like dinner party, this outdoor dinner party where all of these actresses are hanging out with this Italian man filmmaker, and they're kind of doing like a script read through. And you see these actresses, suddenly it transports to the past, and these actresses are playing all of these women in this dressmaking shop. And the movie kind of goes through like events in their life and kind of what working there is like, and it's this very kind of slice of life thing about these women and their struggle to like design something for a film. They're basically doing costume design for a very expensive film, and there's a lot riding on the project, and there's a lot of stress, and you see them go through that stress, and there's like a little boy who's just hanging out in the shop because he can't go home for this reason or that reason. And it is revealed at the end of the film that the little boy is the director of the movie because kind of toward the end of the film, it cuts between shots of like the women working hard and making dresses and you know, working with each other and being friends and la 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 la, and then it'll like pan to a close-up of a man's face, and that man is the director of the film. Yeah, it's a little complex. It's a little tough to explain, but it's just kind of like, I don't know, this movie that is like theoretically about women, but about women as experienced by a man. So it's funny in that way where it's kind of like you get this like man jump scare every now and then. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I wasn't blown away by it. It was kind of similar to your complaints about the film you saw being like a Disney Channel original movie. This one was just like very straightforward and not very like stylized or anything like that. It's just kind of like as straightforward as it can be from how it sounds, with the weird like a metatextual like guy Italian man filmmaker who has extremely close relationship with a bunch of women. Just a weird historical filmic pattern, that in and of itself. But yeah, I don't know. It was all right. You know, yeah. It was all right.
Yeah. One of the problems I do have with film festivals is that a lot of times you end up seeing a lot of films that are just all right, and that brings us to
The Wailing,
not the beloved Korean horror film.
No, not that one. That was from a different year, silly. This one's from this year-ish. And from a whole other different country.
Yeah, distribution gets kind of weird. I think it's even an international thing. Yeah, it's Spain, Argentina, and France. I think it's technically like it would be called an Argentinian film, but it's it's an international production. Really putting the international in SIFF film. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
I'm just gonna be upfront. I guess I could say I am glad the bad trauma horror metaphor feminist horror made by a straight dude film style at least is starting to develop something that isn't just trying to do like Hereditary or Babadook.
Yeah.
But it is trying to do It Follows, so it's still not that far away from it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I feel like the first act of this film started off very strong. And then the second act just kind of did it again, but added probably the worst written lesbian character I've seen in a long time. And, like, literally did not expand on anything. Like, it just kind of told the story. It was just like, this is what it's about. And then it just showed it happening again, but with, like, no tension, because we already know what's happening.
And we already know, like, why it's happening, too.
Right? Like, the first act really does it. Like, it's not like the first act is subtle about the fact that, like, this is happening because this weird invisible man that's stalking her was stalking her mother, and it's some sort of weird familial curse.
Yeah.
Like, the film isn't subtle about it. Like, it starts happening after her mom dies. She finds out that her real biological mom had some sort of weird crazy thing and went to prison for killing somebody, and is very, like, overt about what's happening. Mm-hmm. And then it just, like, goes back 20 years to her mom and just does the entire first act again, where it's like, what's going on? Who's this old man of this woman that I can only capture when I'm recording her with my film camera? And it's like, we fucking, it follows guy. She's getting it's followed.
It's the curse man. The man with the curse.
I described this film as, it's like if, like, the Laura Palmer thing happened to, Donna instead. Mm-hmm. And that it's just, like, very kind of, like, no willpower character. No willpower. Like, very, very weak-willed. And I don't say that as a dig against Donna's character, because I really like her character.
Right.
But, like, it is kind of a thing, is that she is sort of, her arc in the show is about her coming out from under Laura's shadow and realizing how much of her character was kind of defined as being like, oh, I'm Laura's best friend, and having to, like, grow from that. Mm-hmm. And this film is just like, what if it was just about the best friend?
What if we cut out the middleman here?
It's such a, like, bad metaphor. It's, like, really overt in the metaphor it's going for, but it's, like, not good. It's not a good one. It's kind of a weird, clumsy one.
Well, movie by a man about how rape culture affects women, because that's kind of what the metaphor is, right? Like,
yeah, it's how invisible rape culture is. But it's also a curse that only affects a single generation of women, and men are like, why are these women so crazy and addicted to drugs? It's because of an invisible old man that gropes them.
That's the
reason.
And
that invisible old man's name? Patriarchy.
The patriarchy.
I think the thing that makes it most offensive, I already mentioned the worst written lesbian character in a bit. I think that character makes it so much more offensive because it is so fucking obvious that was a dude originally.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I wonder if they like, changed it for optics or something, just because of, like, a dude kind of doing what that character does would feel different. Which
is weird because I don't think it does.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the character being a lesbian woman who just arbitrarily starts stalking a woman that she sees on the street,
Right.
and like recording all of her personal business and like sneaking into her backyard and like recording her naked and then editing that together into a film that she shows to other people at her school, and then lies and says that the person knew about it and gave consent to be in this film that is about like her abortion and like sexual abuse. Like, I don't think that's made better by the character being anybody. I don't think that's a good thing that the character did.
It's pretty fucking rough, actually.
If anything, making the character like a lesbian kind of makes the film in general feel weirder, because it kind of feels like the film is saying it's less bad, where it's like, hey, that's kind of rape culture right there, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, it's not as bad because a woman did it. No, no, it's still pretty bad, actually.
No, yeah, it's still bad. Still bad.
I would actually say it's equally as bad. Like, it shows such a like lack of actual curiosity or sense that women have interiority to think that way, right? Like this idea that like, oh, the thing that makes it bad is because men do it, and it's like, no, the thing that makes it bad that men do it is the fact that men do it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Lesbians aren't like woke because when they do it, it's fine. They're woke because they generally don't do shit like that. I don't know. This is like a weird. This is like the second or third time I've seen it. There's a much celebrated, beloved, short, badly written, like, you know how like horror fiction has kind of become this like the sort of parallel to the like elevated horror has been the like queer horror like scene in fiction writing, where it's like written by people who get into horror because other queer people are into horror. You know what I mean?
Kinda.
It's I don't know how to describe it, because it's like okay. I guess the best way to describe it is I like obviously Gretchen Falker-Meyer's Manhunt. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think she's like kind of this cool figure of this idea of like this genre that is historically associated with like, I don't know, misogyny, or like is connotated as such, you know, looking at it as its raw potentiality and like doing like, here's it, but it takes place at a conversion camp. You know, stuff like that. I think it works when she's doing it because she clearly has a sincere love of horror. It's the same reason why House of Psychotic Women is such a good book, because she clearly has a like legitimate, sincere love of exploitation in horror films, and so using them as this way to like also talk about her own history is really cool and compelling. Mm-hmm. But much like in elevated horror, there's this thing that's just been drawn into that of like, oh, so if you use it to talk about it, it makes it cool, and it's like, no, that's, you got to think it's cool beforehand. And so there's this, I don't even know if this is a controversial opinion, but a friend of ours put me onto this book as a thing that he fucking hated, and I read it, and I also hated it, where it's like, things have gotten worse since we last spoke, or something like that. And it does like the same thing, where there's like a manipulative piece of shit, like lesbian character, and everything from the writing makes it so clear that character was like a straight dude originally, and that it was just very lazily changed to be another woman, because then it like, oh, it's like a weird queer fiction, and it's like, there's just, I don't know how to describe it, because it's not like women can't do awful, like shitty, abusive, manipulative things to each other. Of course they can. But there's just a way of writing it where, like, the characters move and act in a way that makes it obvious this character was either written as a man originally, or that the guy writing it doesn't understand that, like, lesbians and straight men aren't the same thing.
Yeah.
That you can't just like, oh, well, this is what a guy would do in this situation if he was a creep. And it's like, well, yeah, because a guy in the situation would get away with it. Like that's kind of an important, especially when you have the character taking place in like what, the fucking 80s. Like, yeah, I'm sure that would have gone over well in the 80s. Fucking to be just preying on this random rich white girl. Like, what? No. But yeah, it's just, and I feel like it's, I don't know, I feel like it's just this like very lazy way to inject this idea of queerness into your film or into your writing or whatever by writing something that does not feel like there's any actual interest in how that dynamic would play out between two women.
Ooh, the idea of this being called queer cinema down the line is gonna make my blood vessels burst. Right?
And it's like how I would fix the film. Because then the last part of the film is the girl. So in the present time, there's a girl who finds out she was adopted, and she finds out her mom just died recently, and then she starts noticing on camera, like on like video calls and stuff, that there's this like weird guy behind her who keeps showing up, and it starts freaking her out. And so she's talking with her boyfriend who's long distance about it, and then he gets murdered by the guy on camera while they're like FaceTiming. But she realizes that, which is weird, like even that seems really bad, because she's like, he couldn't see him. Like, you can only see him when he's on camera. And it's like, I don't think that's true. Like, I was like, I didn't get that from that at all. You said, who's that behind you? And he turned and looked around and didn't see the guy because the guy was like standing in like shadows.
Right.
And then when he rushes out, he just like bashes his head in. Like, the guy didn't really get time to like turn around and go, whoa, I'm being attacked by a guy I don't see. Like, he just kind of gets attacked.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, so that happens. Her boyfriend gets murdered. She starts freaking out because there's clearly this like guy who's stalking her, but she can't see him unless it's through a camera. There's this weird broadcast signal she keeps getting from this mysterious apartment that is full of all the tortured women of this family line. She goes in there with friends. They get got. And then it cuts to the 20 years ago, and it's her mom, and basically the same thing just plays out again, but with this like lesbian character stalking her, and is like, what's up with this old guy I always see around? And she's like, what old guy? I was by myself. And then the old guy kills the lesbian, and that's how it loops back into the beginning, because she finds out her mom was in jail for killing someone. Yada yada yada. But at some point they introduce that it's like she has a sister, or like her mom had a sister. And then the end of the film is it cuts to that sister freaking the fuck out in a bathroom, like at her job. And then she goes and meets with the mother of the adoptive mother of the girl from the first act and her friend. And they're talking about how, like, we were with her in her last moments. Like, we think this thing is going on. We didn't believe her about this curse. But then we found out her mom had the curse, so we think it's real. And then she's like, it's happening to me too. And the three of them comfort each other while they're crying. And then the movie just ends. And that made me hate it so much more, because that character probably was the best actress in the whole film. And we see her for 5 minutes. And then I'm sitting there in the theater like, why did we spend so much time on Act 2 going over things that were already established in Act 1?
God, Act 2 really was a snooze fest. It's hard to kind of impart how much the movie slows down during that whole segment, and how much it just doesn't make sense.
How much it just... What an insane decision it is.
Yeah.
Because there's flaws in the first act, but the first act has momentum. Mm-hmm. It has inertia. It has something going for it, right?
Yeah.
And then Act 2 just is like, could he not think of how he wanted to convey this story, so he did it twice? Like, and then you get to Act 3, which promises the return of momentum, and then it just stops. So then you're like, you filled this movie with an entirely superfluous flashback sequence. Which also, by the way, if you're gonna do a flashback sequence and be so like, oh look, it's like the 80s or whatever, don't have one of the first shots in the film be a guy in a fucking pleasure shirt behind the main character, because I didn't realize it was a fucking flashback for 10 minutes because of it.
Oh my god. Yeah, some struggles in the styling department. I mean, I definitely noticed a trend this year at SIFF of just films that, like, wanted so hard to have this quirky, different, like, structure to them.
Yeah, it does feel a little like that's the new hotness, is weird structures.
Yeah, but it's so unearned most of the time, especially in cases like this.
I wonder is it just because of like stuff like I Saw the TV Glow? Like, is it just because there's been a couple like big indie hits that use atypical film narrative structure that people think they can just do that? Because like the thing is, you can just do that.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna just do that, you gotta give me like a reason why you're telling it that way. Like, at least do some fucking Memento shit where the guy's like, I got hit on the head too hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Now my film chronology's all messed up.
Yeah, if you're gonna do some Memento shit, you gotta commit.
I just don't... Like, what am I supposed to watch this film and come away from? I think that's my problem. I'm not coming away scared. I'm not coming away with any insights. I'm not coming away liking any of the characters. What am I getting from this movie?
I mean, there's a general feeling that I think is trying to be imparted of, like, woman solidarity. I think that's kind of what the end of the film's kind of statement is. But it's like, I don't know, it's still a movie by a guy, right?
Yeah. And it's like, if that's going to be if that's the message, then like, where is it in the rest of the film?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the best way you would impart it, is by putting it in the rest of the film. Or, even if you're just going to end it on they don't have a solution for it, give us some more, like, give us a sense of, like, either the cycle is ending here, or, like, she's going to work with these women because she has a child and she's terrified that, someday down the line she's going to die and this is going to be passed on to her child, and she wants to spend the rest of her life working to make sure this never happens to her child, or that, even if she can't stop it, that her daughter is better equipped to deal with it. Like, give us something that, like, shows you think about how women actually react to this sort of invisible violence that you're talking about. Yeah. And not just that they go, dames, they're crazy sometimes, but it's because they always getting molested on and stuff, so you gotta be nice to them.
God damn. You just,
like, this is a dark woke movie is what I
Well, when you put it like that,
like, that's what I'm walking away from the film for.
Yeah, that is the statement.
Women do be crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like those fucking like clickbait videos where it's like, these women are crazy for an amazing reason.
It's okay to be batshit fucking crazy sometimes. It's okay to fucking be an insane womanly woman who's completely irrational and insane and emotional.
The funniest thing about Marie, the mother in the flashbacks, is that, like, they really want you to believe that she's like a crazy Laura Palmer style character, mm-hmm. and they show me just like any college woman. It's like, oh yeah, I get like drunk a lot, and I don't know, I've got all these bruises because I like fell down. I have all these bruises because I ate shit on a Lime scooter. like they really want you to be like, wow, she's so like damaged from this, and it's like, I think she's just like kind of like a wastoid. Like that's just a type of person who exists.
Freaking wastoid.
I don't even say that as a negative thing. It's just, I knew plenty of people in college where they're just like, I'm in college, I'm just gonna fuck around. I'm in college. Like, I don't have fucking responsibilities. That's what I'm in college for. I'm in college to learn what having a responsibility is.
In the words of Asher Roth, do something crazy. Do something crazy.
I love college.
Yeah.
There should have been a scene in the movie where they listen to Asher Roth's I Love College.
Huh?
We actually, I was going to say there should have been a scene in the film where they listened to that, but now I'm winding that back, and I'm saying that I want to see a movie where there is a scene where, like it can be like a horror film or a thriller or a drama or something, but a scene where a character is like freaked out, screaming, crying, covered in blood, but Asher Roth I Love College is playing. like that scene in Us. Like, I want some shit like that in a movie. Because people, they always go for like a fun, ironic pop song that everyone knows and loves. I want them to go for an ironic pop song that fucking sucks.
I want them to go for Dota by Bass Hunter.
I want them to go for like any Pitbull song.
Oh my god, Dale.
Give me everything tonight.
Damn. Well, I guess that's our reporting from the front lines of SIFF.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we have any messages of hope that we want to give
for the future? I don't know if I'm familiar with that word.
Hold on, I'm getting a new dispatch. I'm getting a dispatch in. Oh, it's just a push notification from Mubi. They really want me to watch this movie with Dasha from Red Scare in it.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, maybe that'll be on the docket for us.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, it's got Casey Frey in it.
Oh, yay!
I like Casey Frey.
Well, I guess we've got our work cut out for us, soldier.
Yeah. All right. Well, back to the mines. Our brave boys on the front line aren't going to be watching movies by themselves.
We got to get back in the trenches of the Chaz Chop, and we got to hook up a PS2 to play some DVDs. That's our job in the commune.
Yeah. Honestly, though, like film programming at like an occupied like military base by like leftist Antifa super soldiers probably goes so hard.
That would probably hit.
Yeah. Like, you're going to be seeing some like deep cut Soviet era cinema, and then also just like, I just really like The Notebook. I just think it's like a really good movie. Oh my god, you guys haven't seen Final Destination? Oh my god, we have to watch Final Destination tonight.
Oh my god, we have to watch it.
It's so good. It's so scary. You don't have to get on a plane anytime soon, though, right? Because if you have to get on a plane, it's like so scary. It like did for planes what Jaws did for Jaws.
I feel like the film programming at the Anarchist Commune is
the best thing about film programming at the Anarchist Commune is they have private trackers.
They have gay porn.